Sides. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Spokane, Washington. I come to you every Wednesday night live with some new ideas, mostly cards, but sometimes other projects as well. And I've got 3 great cards lined up for you tonight, including a gift card holder card. So that's what we'll be working on tonight. While we're giving everybody a chance to get logged on here and find me, I'm just going to look on my computer, make sure that I can see all the comments. Because I love the conversation that goes on and just the community that is developing here. So give me a moment here. It looks like, okay, it looks like it's coming up here. Oh, you don't want to have to listen to me. There we go. Okay, so Talina's on. Hello there, Talina and Eric. How are you guys tonight? Talina was watching the Golden Globes before this, and we were talking about all the outfits. And I love, I don't necessarily watch the award shows, but I do like to go on social media and see all the outfits everybody wore. And I love the really tacky, horrible, over-the-top outfits just as much as I love the really, really amazing outfits. They both entertain me. Let's see, I'm trying to think if I have anything else to tell you guys about. I did start physical therapy on Monday, and the physical therapist was really impressed with where my range of motion is at with my shoulder at this point in the game, so that's really good. So of course he gave me a bunch of exercises to work on, and I'm doing that. And he gave me permission to start weaning off of the sling, so I'm able to go about half the time without the sling. He just doesn't want me to push it too hard yet. So that's good. It's going to be nice to get rid of that, but I kind of feel naked without it now because I was wearing it 24/7. I even was wearing it to bed. So I kind of feel a little lost without it. Let's see. So Celebration started last week. And for those of you who are new, Celebration is an amazing sale we do every year. It lasts through January and February. And there's a little brochure, or you can see online, of about 9 or 10 different gifts you can get for free for every $50 you purchase. Some of them do require a $100 purchase, but most of them are $50. And if you don't have one of these brochures, if you don't have a demonstrator that you currently work with, I'd be happy to send something out to you. Just let me know. Again, like I said, you can also see it on my website, and I'll have the website address for you in just a little bit. Also, our new mini catalog came out. It's going to be effective January through April. They're kind of changing the timing on our catalogs a little bit this year, trying something a little different. So this catalog is good January through April, and there's some really great stuff in there. And right now I'm trying to focus on using new things and Celebration gifts so you can see them in use and kind of get a better feel for whether or not it's something you need. Okay, hold on. I need to get my squirt bottle because I have to squirt my dog. Hey, stop that. Okay, so I have this box under my desk that I keep all of my cords and stuff in so that they're not just everywhere, and she likes to chew on the box. So then I squirt her, tell her to stop, and she looks at me like I'm the one who, like I got 3 heads or something. So anyway, okay, so that's all the excitement coming up. It looks like Robin and Mary and Kathy and Nell have joined us as well. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to those of you who haven't said hello yet. Make sure that you do. You want to get your name in the drawing for participating in the conversation, for leaving a comment. All comments count. Even if all you do is say hello and tell me where you're from, that counts. And it doesn't have to be on this live. If you are watching this and in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, if there's a little red box that says live, you're watching us live. If that little red box is not there, you're watching a replay. And it also qualifies you to enter this drawing. So just make sure you leave a comment. Again, it's fine to just say hi and tell me where you're from, but I love it when when people participate in the conversation, whether you're talking to each other, talking to me, giving me suggestions, asking questions, any of that. It just makes the experience a little more fun for everybody. So I encourage you to do that. So I'm going to get this turned around. We're going to do our drawing from last week's comments, and then we'll get going on this week's cards. What do you think? Okay, give me just a moment here. Okay, get everything turned around here a little bit. Let's see. Okay, can everybody see everything okay? Looks like we've got some shadows. I think my next big purchase, which isn't really a big purchase, I just need to, you know, do it, is I want to get a ring light so we've got a little bit better light when we do this. So, so we have that to look forward to. Okay, so our winner this week for last week's drawing, what I do is when you comment, I go in a couple hours before the next week's live and I pull up the names of everybody who commented, and then I do a random drawing, and that person wins, and I announce it on the live that night. So that's why I said, even if you're not watching a live edition of this, if you're just watching one of the replays on Facebook or on YouTube, you still can get in on this drawing. So this week's prize is the artistically inked ephemera pack, and it's really got some cool stuff in it. It's got these, I don't know how well you can see them, but these really cool little sequins that are kind of opalescent, sort of. I really like them. And then these little cutouts, you can do the white side if you want. Let me see if I still have some hanging around. I don't have a whole pack of them, but this shows you. See, what you're looking at here in the pack is the back side, but the front side is this, where it's gold. And there's some kind of leaves and things like that. There's also some geometric shapes. It's just a really fun little pack. And this week's winner is Colleen Fitzgerald Buttery. Colleen, I do have your address, so I will get this popped in the mail to you. Congratulations, Colleen. Okay, let's get started on our cards. So the first one we're going to make is a gift card holder, and for this gift card holder, I used the Go-To Greetings stamps. This is a fun sentiment set because it has Go-To Greetings, sentiments that you would probably use pretty often. Happy birthday, thinking of you, just a note, thank you. And it's got it in all different fonts. And then in the little teeny tiny font here, it also has hello. So I really like this just because they are sentiments that you use quite a bit. And it's nice to have a variety of the fonts. Hey, Susan, welcome. And then I'm also using decorative borders. This is one of the new sets in the January through April mini catalog. It's kind of fun, just got all these different little borders that you can use. And then of course I used my layering circles because I wanted that little tiny circle right there. So if you have another set of dies that has a small circle in it, those will work just fine, and you'll see why in just a minute. Okay, so here is our card. We've got our decorated envelope, of course, and here is the card itself. And look, I have magnets on it, and you can cover those magnets up if you want. But remember, the more paper you have between your magnets, the less hold they will have. So there are magnets hidden under this piece right here, so it stays shut, and you don't need a belly band or anything like that. So here's the inside, and here's the little gift card holder, just like that. Or a library card holder, you know, whichever. So let's go ahead and get started on this card. It's really pretty easy to make. So let's get going on that. Let's start with our envelope. I think all my cards tonight just use this basic technique where you take a strip of designer series paper, some liquid glue, and your envelope, and you just glue that strip onto the envelope. Put on my glasses so I can see where I'm putting the glue. That's always a good thing. Get the little glue boogers out of the tip of the bottle. There we go. And I just do a little bit of glue along the edge here. Does not require a whole lot. In fact, I'm not even lifting my the tip of this off of the paper because I don't want to have so much glue that it warps my paper or ends up squishing out everywhere and making a huge mess. Now, if you have designer series paper that is directional, like in this case, you've got the flowers, you always want to double check and make sure you're putting it on in the right direction. More than a time or two, I have had upside down flowers. Okay. Now, I just open it up and I'm going to take my snips and I'm just going to trim off this extra. If you cut your envelope a little bit, that's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. Okay. Step one done. So we've got our envelope all ready. I love this paper. By the way, this paper is called, let me double check the name of it. Dainty Flowers, and it is one of the gifts you can get for free with a $50 order during Celebration. Okay, so for our card base, this one is a little different size than normal. It is 5.5 inches wide by 10 inches long. So 5.5 by 10, okay? Then what I did is, it's hard to see, I wasn't scoring very hard tonight for some reason, but I scored it here at 4.25, and then I flipped it over this way and I scored it at 1.5. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fold it together like that. Did I do that at 4.25 or did I do 4.5? Oh good, I did 4.25. I did 4.5 earlier and had to start over. So, okay, we've got this one. I'm just kind of trying to make sure my paper's all lining up quite right there. And then this piece folds over. There we go. You can see how it kind of bubbled there a little bit. There we go. There we go. So it's going to fold like an envelope, sort of. Okay, tri-fold, just like that. Now let's go ahead and do the inside of our card. We'll go ahead and get that done, and then we'll work on the outside. So for the inside, first I've got this piece of basic white. I also have a strip of rich raspberry and a strip of the designer series paper that we're using. Let's go ahead and put that together. This is just going to create a little strip along the bottom of the card to just give it some interest so it's not all plain white in there. So I put just a little bit of my liquid glue on there, and then I'm putting it on this strip of rich raspberry. Now, before I glue that down, I'm actually remembering to stamp this time. I always tell you guys, stamp before you glue, and then I forget to do it myself. So I've got a little happy birthday stamp here, and I'm gonna just line it up right about there. There we go. And clean off my stamp. I should have gotten my chamois, Simply Chamois, a little bit wetter before we started, but I forgot to. We will survive. Okay, then I'm gonna close this for now. As many of you know, I tend to lay down in my ink pads if I don't. So, hello, Kathy Sanford's joined us, and Kathy Zaramba said that she loves the variety of sizes in the go-to greetings. That's a really good point. I pointed out the different fonts, but the different sizes are important too. It just is a really nice set to have for basic greetings. Okay, so let's see here. Little glue. Make sure my flowers are going the right direction. This is an issue for me. There we go. All right, now I'm going to use some of my Snail Plus to adhere this to the inside of my card. And we're going to put it on this little middle section. Like that. Now we're going to go ahead and make our little pocket for our gift card. And what I did here is I took a strip and I measured my gift card. My gift card was about 2.25 inches by 3 inches. I'm sorry, I think it was by 3.5 inches. Yeah, it was about 2.25 by 3.5 inches. And so I made this a little bit bigger because what I wanted to do was create a little bit more of a pocket. When I've done these in the past, what you've seen me do is put the tape directly on this piece, and that works just fine too. But I found that by doing this, it creates a little bit more of a pocket, so there's a little more wiggle room in there to get the card in without pulling the paper up off the card itself. Now I'm having a hard time finding my score lines here. Like I said, I wasn't scoring very hard. So hang on, I'm going to rescore this. What I did, first of all, is this little circle. This is where I took the small circle from the layering circles. And I'll show you what I did. I laid it like this. So it was about half on and half off of my piece of paper. And then ran it through my die cut machine. So it just gave me that little bit of an opening there. And that works really, really well. Now I'm taking this piece and I'm going to score 1/4 of an inch around all of the 3 other edges. Hopefully that shows a little bit better. I think my scoring blade is getting dull. Can that happen? I mean, I know they're kind of dull to begin with. That's why they don't cut the paper. But I'm finding I'm really having to yank on it, and usually with the designer series paper you don't want to do that because it'll just punch right through your paper and cut your paper. Why is this not, this one just doesn't want to show up on this side. Let's try this again. Sorry about all the wiggling, guys. Okay, that is so weird. It's just like not even showing up and I can barely feel it. There we go, but I can see it. So move this out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to take my bone folder and fold each of these little edges down. Get this side as well. And sometimes with designer series paper, it is a little difficult to see where your score line is, but if you can find it, like in this case, I find it in one place, then it's pretty easy to make it go all the way across. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these little corners off, but I'm going to cut at an angle, and that way I don't have pieces overlapping. So I'm just going to cut a little bit that way and a little bit that way. Do the same on this side. A little bit of an angle there, a little bit of an angle there. See how it, put it against my hand, see how it's kind of that little angle there, angle cuts rather than just straight. And that, just like I said, makes it lay a little flatter and you don't end up with little things poking out. Now, fold the sides in first, then fold the bottom over it. And we're going to take our tear and tape and we're just going to run it right along the piece, just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do, you know what, I think I should have gone that direction second. So let me go ahead and glue this down and take the release tape off so that I can kind of go over that. Where's my take your big tool? Okay. Now the reason I was saying I want to go over that edge is because I do want it to kind of hold together a little bit better, but this will be face down on the card and that will hold it in place as well. So I'm not really sure what I'm concerned about. So now we'll put this one on. Okay. When you use tear and tape, make sure you take your bone folder and really rub that tape in. It gets that adhesive really nice and stuck to your paper before you pull the release tape off. And it is a little tricky sometimes to get the release tape off. That's where your take your pick tool comes in handy. If you don't have a take your pick tool yet, you definitely need to get one. They're only like $10 and they come with, let me show you all the different tools they come with. Okay, so first, before I do that, I'm just going to take this. It has glue on these 3 edges, or the tear and tape. I want to put it right about here. And now it's got that little pocket, see? And we can put the card right in there. Take your pick tool. This end has a little pokey end, and I'm sure that's the technical term. And this end has a spatula end. The spatula is great for a lot of different things, including when you have stuck something down and you didn't mean to, or you need to get it back up again. Let me show you this. You could put the spatula underneath and go like this to lift it back up without tearing your paper all up. So it is a really nice tool to have. Then this end has putty in it, and I need to refill my putty, but this works really well for picking up your embellishments and small things that are just a little hard to handle with your hand because they're too big. So looks like Sharon has joined us. Welcome, Sharon. And I saw somewhere someone said hello to Marcia, so it looks like Marcia came in as well. Okay, so now that I've shown you your take your pick tool, let's go ahead and get started on the front of our card. The first thing we're going to do is these 2 pieces, we're going to put them on the card. So we're going to glue the rich raspberry down first. Normally, I would glue them together and then put them down, but we're going to put the rich raspberry one down first because then we're going to put the magnets on it. So, okay, put it right about there, it looks like. And then I have these magnets. You can just buy these on Amazon. They're not expensive. I've got 2 here. There's one. There's the other one. See, they're not very big. Actually, I guess I'm going to need 4, aren't I? I'm going to need 4, so might as well get them all out now. Whoop, and they all stuck together. Okay, now we're going to take glue dots. And, ooh, these glue dots are almost out. Where's my, okay. Oh, these glue dots are out. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna get another box of glue dots. It looks like Lucy might have gotten a hold of this one at some point. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my first little magnet and I'm just going to get a glue dot on the back of it. And I'm going to put it right about there. Okay, now let's get the second glue dot. Ooh, they're kind of dancing all over the place right now. Okay, now I'm going to get the second one. Put it right about there. Now we're going to put this piece on over the magnets, okay? Make sure my flowers are going the right direction. And it does make it a little bumpy there, but that's okay. I mean, it's not like super bad. Okay, now we want to have magnets up here, right? All you need to do, because you don't know where to line them up, right? So just go like this. And now they're exactly where they need to be. So now you're just going to take the glue dots. I'm going to take my take your pick tool. Just like that. And if you don't want the glue dots to show up here, I'm sorry, the magnets show up here. You could always put a piece of designer series paper over it, or anything really. I'm going to put 2 on here just because they are pretty strong magnets and I want to make sure they hold well. Or yeah. Okay. And now all you need to do is close that. Okay, that's kind of funny. I accidentally had 2 magnets here, it looks like. There we go. Somehow I had an extra one there, so I'm going to put that away. Okay, there we go. See, so now it'll open and close just fine. And like I said, if you don't want to see those magnets, you can cover them up really easily. I just didn't this time because I was in a hurry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to finish off the last piece of this card, and we're going to be using the decorative border stamps that I showed you. And I really wanted to use this one. I thought that would look really nice right along here, and it was just the perfect length, but it was a little wider than the space that I had. So we're using this one instead. And for this, I am using, actually, I'm going to use my StazOn ink because we're going to watercolor to color that in. When you watercolor, StazOn ink really works better so that it doesn't bleed as bad as the Memento does with water. Now, if you're using your Stampin' Blend markers, then you want to use the Memento. Okay, I think that looks pretty centered. Okay, there we go. Clean off my stamp. And then make sure you close your ink pad right away. Not just because you might lay down in it, but especially the StazOn dries really, really quickly. And you don't want your ink pad to dry out. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and color this flower, which happens pretty quickly. And I'm gonna show you what you wanna do to get the ink in the lid like that. Flip your pad upside down and then do some CPR on it. And when you open it, the ink is in the lid. Okay, so now I've got my aqua painter. When you buy a set of aqua painters, I think it's like $12. You get 3 of them. A real wide brush. This is the super narrow brush, and then there's a fine point, and then there's one that's kind of halfway between the two. And so I'm using the fine point one. And what you want to do is get a little water, so that your brush is wet, but you don't want it to be too wet. Hang on. You don't want it to be too wet, so then you just kind of go like this on like a tissue or something. And now I'm picking up the ink from the lid, and right now I'm just gonna color a few dark spots on these that I want to be darker for shading purposes. Okay. Get these little guys here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is let that run out a little bit. Get it lighter. Yeah, it's still nice and wet. I want it to be lighter now, so I'm going to use up a little bit of the ink and just kind of go around and color in the rest of the flower. I think I want a little more dark in the center here. There. There we go. Get these little guys finished up there. There. Now and I also wanted to take the rich raspberry and do these little diamonds in the end here. Now remember, you can always come back to this. So after you've colored it, go ahead and leave it alone. Let it soak in. And see, do you need to come back and add a little more dark somewhere to add a little more shading? If you try to do it all at once, it just ends up getting the paper too wet and it doesn't really layer like you want it to. So if you, do your initial pass, then take a peek at it, see how it looks, how it's come in, and then, do it again if you need to. And now I'm just kind of trying to do some dark in some of these little accent areas, these little leaves. These little leaves are so tiny. Okay, now get some of that color off because we're gonna do just like we did with the flower. We're going in with the lighter shade, which just means more of the ink has worn off the brush. It looks like I need to add a little more. And again, if I need to come in later and add a little bit more dark to that to just fill it in, I can do that. But that's all there is to coloring it in with watercolor. You don't have to be a watercolor artist. I am not. Our aqua painters make it really easy. We're going to do this again on another card tonight as well. So let's see, put these pieces away. And let's finish up our card. So I'm just taking a little bit of my liquid glue here. I'm working with really small margins when I put this onto the Rich Razzleberry. So when I have really tiny margins like this, I like to use my liquid glue because I can lay it down and then still be able to wiggle it around a little bit to make sure that I've got it centered and where I want it. So that's why I did that. Now let's go ahead and put this on the card. My Stampin' or my Seal Plus is about to run out. Well, and there we go, it just did. Fortunately, I saw this coming and I got myself an extra one just because I knew I was going to need to change it. Changing the adhesive in the dispenser is super easy. I should have said something as I was doing it. You saw how I just popped it open and then this just lays down on. There's little pegs in here that you lay it down on, but you got to do it the right direction. And then you just put it back together and that's all there is to it. So there we go. And we're going to put this on this area of our card. And I'm kind of trying to line it up with the piece down here. Looks like we got a little something on the card there. So I'm going to take my sand eraser. This is not something Stampin' Up! Carries, but you can just get one on Amazon. They're not very expensive, a couple bucks, I think. And it just gets, when you've got little blobs on there, they come off. Okay, now I felt like it was just a little plain right here. So I have these adhesive backed Milky Dots. These are new in the spring catalog. And let's see, put a couple big ones on here and a few little ones. I need to get more putty for my take your pick tool. Whoops. There we go. That one's a little crooked. I don't like it there. Not crooked, but sort of off center. It was kind of weird. There. So there's card number 1 with its matching envelope and the little magnet closure. You can put a gift card in there. What do you guys think? Hey Judy, welcome. Let's see, figure out all the pieces I have here so I can put stuff away so we can get out all the goodies for the next one. Okay. All right, you guys ready for card number 2? This card, for this card, we're using the adorable owls. Aren't these guys just amazing? I love their eyes, their big eyes. This set is another gift you can earn for free during Celebration. When you spend $50, you could pick this to be your free gift. And then we're also using the Stylish Shapes dies. So let's see here, and here's the card with our matching envelope, and there's our card. The paper, the designer series paper that I used here, is also a Celebration gift you can get with a $100 order, but it is an amazing pack of paper. It's got 48 12 by 12 sheets in it, and they are all so fun, and I love the color scheme of it. So let's go ahead and get started on this card. Again, we'll start with the envelope. And we're just gonna put some glue along the edge. There we go. Let's stick this down on there. Okay, now I have glue on the tips of my fingers. Okay, so trim this off. Okay. So there's our envelope, ready to go. And our card base is just your standard 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and get this going here. Okay, set that aside for the moment. Let's go ahead and stick these pieces on the front. We might as well, because we're not going to need to do anything fancy with them, and get them put away so that I can't lose them. Okay. That looks pretty good. We'll just stick that down on the card. Okay, looks like that's pretty straight. Let's do the inside piece now. This inside piece is very similar to what we did on the last piece. So, or the last card. We're just going to glue the strip of designer series paper onto a piece of fresh freesia cardstock. Looks like I got a little too much glue on that one. Cut off the extra here. And the fresh freesia one might be a little too long as well, so we're going to need to trim that also. So let's go ahead and put on some glue and stick this baby down. Okay. And I'm putting it here. I want to have a little bit of the white edge there. Leave that edge. And now, let's just trim off these extras on the ends. There we go. And we can stick that inside our card, and now the inside is done. Okay, now let's start with working with our cute little owls. So first, what I did is I already stamped these little owl guys. Looks like I forgot to do a little piece of white for our sentiment, so I'll have to cut that. But I've got my two owls, and then the colors I'm going to be using on them, I'm going to be using my Fresh Freesia, Coastal Cabana, and So Saffron. And we're watercoloring again, so give the pads a little bit of CPR. Okay, sorry about all the wiggling. Then open up the pads. And I've got my aqua painter again. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by doing their little feeties. Make sure it's just yellow. Okay. So I'm going to do their feet and their beaks. Do this guy. I just love these little owls. I think they are so adorable. Which is probably why they're called adorable owls. Okay, so now I can put this one away because I know that I don't need any more of the yellow. Clean off my brush, make sure I've got all the yellow out of it. Let's go ahead and do some of our Coastal Cabana. And for the Coastal Cabana, what I wanted to do is I wanted to do his eyes. Coastal Cabana is a color that does actually, when you do this with the watercolor, it goes on, it gets pretty light. So I recommend do it and then come back and do another layer of it after it's soaked in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to clean that up. I'm not going to close the pad because I know I'm going to come back and add more. Oh, I have to do this guy too. What am I thinking? So we'll do his eyes. Okay, that's all the Coastal Cabana on him. Clean my brush a little bit. Sometimes when I'm switching colors and I'm going from a darker color to a lighter color, what I'll do is I go ahead and squeeze some of the water out, but then have a napkin or something that you can get all the extra water off. So now we're going to start on his little body. I'm doing the inside of his ears a little darker, so I want to use that first just because it's got the most concentrated ink right there. And then let's see, doing a little bit darker on the edges of his wings, and then I'll do a little bit darker here, kind of along his belly. And we'll do a little bit darker right here in like the furrow of his brows. Yeah, I'm going to want to come back here and add a little bit more dark on him. Let it sit for a minute while I do the other one. So again, I'm going to do the darker right on the inside of his ears. And then the furrow of his brow. And kind of around the bottom of his belly. And the tips of his little wings. And now we'll start working it in with a little bit lighter. And let's get some on his little party hat. And I'm going to want to come back and make that a little darker so that it stands out from his little head there. Okay, let's see where we need to add some on this one. There. And I want to add a little bit more of the blue or the Coastal Cabana. Just because I want to brighten that up a little bit. Do the same on this one. Look at these guys, aren't they adorable? Okay, now let's see what, add just a little bit more. Did I need to add, oh, I wanted to add a little bit more of the fresh freesia to his hat. I wanted that to soak in a little bit. See how it just kind of layers that color on instead of just giving you more water in the color that you had. Okay, so now those are done. We're going to cut these guys out. It doesn't take too long to cut them, actually. Okay, my lid. And there's my snips. So we're just going to cut these guys out real quick. Remember, the trick to fussy cutting is turning your paper, not your scissors. And I know fussy cutting is such a controversial thing. People, it's funny, most people love it or they hate it. I can't say I love it. I don't mind it. But there are people who find it really relaxing, actually. And so if they have a lot to do, they'll just go sit in front of the TV and cut while they watch TV. If I have a project that requires a lot of it, I don't do that project. I don't mind doing it for a couple pieces like this, but boy, I don't want to be fussy cutting all night. Well, especially because a lot of it I do on my lives with you guys, and I don't want you to have to sit here and watch me cut all night either. In fact, a lot of times I try to pre-cut it if I can. And I guess I could have done that tonight, but it makes it a little tough when you're coloring it in and you have little pieces like those little feet. Okay, this guy is almost done. it around those little wings. See how I'm moving the paper, not the scissors? Get these little feet. Okay, so there's our first owl. Let's get the second one. Sorry to have to spend so much time sitting here just watching me cut. Unfortunately, it's pretty rare that a stamp set in the Celebration catalog has coordinating dies. So, yeah, when you get these, you tend to have to fussy cut them if you want them cut out. Okay. And we're on the home stretch. So I'm trying to get my, on my YouTube channel, my next small goal was to get 250 viewers. So I'm at 246 and I've been there for a long time. So if you know anybody who might be interested in watching these videos, definitely point them my direction, have them check it out, see what they think, tell them if they like it, to follow me. That definitely helps me build my business, and I appreciate when you do that. Speaking of which, if you're enjoying what you see tonight, definitely share my video. Share this on your own Facebook page because you just never know who in your feed might be interested. And if you're enjoying this, of course, the thumbs up and the likes and the hearts and all those always make me feel good. Okay, so we've got our little owls. Just catch up on my notes here. Presley's watching. Sharon said that her dog Presley is watching. Talina has cats that like to watch me too. Oh, that's funny. Looks like I have lots of fur babies watching. Mary said she hadn't thought of using fresh freesia with the owls. You know, I actually, a lot of times I get my color choices from the DSP that I use. So yes, Judy, I do have a YouTube channel. Just go on and do a search for Stamp Happenings and you will find me. Okay, so now the next step, oh, I did have a little piece of white cut out. Good, good. So our next step is I have just a little circle here that I cut out a vellum with my stylish shapes, and we're going to go ahead and glue our little owl onto it. Kind of like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put foam adhesive on the backs of these. So let's see, put some right. And you definitely want to put them wherever the owl is on the vellum one because you don't want the adhesive to show through your vellum. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and take the backs off of this one. And put it right about here. And then this guy, let's take the backs off. And we'll put him right about there. And then finally, I just have these tiny little pieces that I used for my sentiment. So let's get that one here. Just says, it's your day. And I stamped that with the black as well. Whoops, I'm putting it on the inside of the card. What am I thinking? Okay, we're gonna line it up here. Oh, not very straight. That's okay. That's okay, it's straight enough. Sorry about the wiggling there. Okay, close my ink pad. And I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on here. And line this guy up. And this one, I just stuck right on the card. I didn't pop it up with dimensionals. Put that right there. And then just to give it a little bit of extra pop, I have the opaque adhesive backed gems that come in all sorts of fun colors. And first I'm going to put some white ones, small white ones on that vellum. They just pop really well on that vellum. I really need to get more putty for my Take Your Pick tool, and I know I've said that 500 times, but I'm hoping that I'll say it enough times that I'll actually remember to get some. Okay, let's see, how about right about there? And then I put a few little tiny purple ones, fresh freesia ones, on here just to fill that up a little bit. Let's see. There. So there we go. There's card number 2. Oh, you know what? No, it's the next card. I have something really fun that I did with the next card. So let's start putting stuff away, and then we'll get going on that next card. Robin just asked where Lucy is. Lucy, let's see. I could probably move my camera here. Bear with me as I move, and I will show you where Lucy is. She had a rough day of being obnoxious and protecting the house. So I think she's actually getting ready for a growth spurt right now. Got to figure out which way my phone goes here. I think she's getting ready for a growth spurt because she hasn't been eating a whole lot. Okay, I've got this going the wrong direction. Now that you know what my ceiling looks like. Anyway, she hasn't been eating a lot, and she's been sleeping a lot, and she's not acting like she doesn't feel well, so it's pretty typical behavior for a growth spurt. Okay, let's see here. Let's straighten this back out again. Am I straight? Straight enough? Okay. Yeah, she is adorable, especially when she's sleeping. I think I've told you guys, it's pretty funny. When I moved, I really didn't have much in the way of furniture or anything. So I went out on Facebook Marketplace and got my son and I beds. But I couldn't, afford to get anything too fancy or too big. So we each have twin beds right now. So I am sharing a twin bed with that dog. And, she thinks it's entirely hers. So I think I might, once I have a little bit more money stocked up, need to invest in a bigger bed. Okay, so this card, I think this is so cute, uses the Love Cats, which I just think is a really cute and simple stamp set. There's not a lot of coloring. There's not a lot that you need to do. So let me show you what we're making. This is the card. Now, are you guys ready to see the thing I did that I just think this is, I'm very proud of myself. I amuse myself sometimes, right? So, thank you, Robin. I just amuse myself. Are you ready for this, you guys? I think this is the funniest thing on the planet. So the sentiment that I used with this card is head over heels about you. I think that works really well since he's upside down, right? Okay, are you ready? I did the sentiment upside down. And I did that on purpose. That cracks me up. I am so thoroughly amused by myself on that one. So let's go ahead and get started here on our card. There's a lot of pieces to this one, but it's just because there's a lot of layering. There's not really a lot to do on the card, just a lot of layering. Thanks for joining us for a while there, Kathy. And yes, you can always watch the replay. Okay. Going around the edge. And now, again, I have hearts on here. I want to make sure they're going the right direction. Okay, this is not slipping and sliding the way it's supposed to. You wait too long and it won't slip and slide. That's kind of where we're at now because the glue is now tacky. So I've got to be really careful about how I lay this down. Okay, there we go. We got it. Take my snips and I suppose you're forgiven, Talina. What are we eating tonight? I was in a hurry and so I ordered Arby's. I used to get DoorDash all the time because there was never room in the refrigerator for me to have food. My husband preps all his food. He does food prep and he would fill up the refrigerator with his foods and his prep dishes and all that. So there was never any room for me to put groceries in the fridge. So I just ordered DoorDash a lot. But since I moved in here, I've been pretty good about eating at home. So I don't feel guilty now when I order DoorDash. Okay, so basic card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And this pack of paper, I should grab it and show you, is in the new mini catalog, the January through April mini catalog. It's actually in the Valentine's Day section, but you can use it year round, obviously. Let me show you the pack. Called Country Lane. I'm sorry, Country Floral Lane. And it's got the paper that we're using. This is the back side of that one. And let's see here, the back side of this one. Isn't that cute? Put these back in here. And then here's some other prints in it. Looks kind of like, reminds me of quilts. And the peach color, I love this. I think this is beautiful. It's just fun. That's the back side. Got the little bicycles with the flowers and this blue stripe. And these flowers and blue and white hearts. I think I just showed you this one. I think that's the one we're using. Yep. And this is the one we're using. So that's what this pack looks like. It's just an adorable pack. I love it. And like I said, even though it is in the Valentine's Day section, it's not totally Valentine-y. So you could, you don't have to worry about using it other times of the year. Chicken strips and fries. That sounds wonderful. Okay, let's get going on this card. So let's do the inside. We've got a piece of basic white. I want to remind myself what I did here. Okay, basic white. And then we also have this little strip that's going to go along the bottom. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and use our Memento ink. And let's see, find my stamp here. got my cat, that's for the front. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to stamp it upside down. Oh, see, I got that there, but I can use my sand eraser probably to get rid of that. So I'll wait till it dries and then I'll come back and do that. Okay. Let's get this piece on here now. And I'm just lining this up. This time I went right along the bottom. I didn't leave a little white strip in between. Cut off the extra here. There we go. And let's go ahead and glue this to the inside. That looks pretty ugly right now with that, but I'm not worried about it coming off. There we go. Put the lid on. Whoops, I don't know why I did that. I'm going to need it again for the front. Okay, so now we're going to put on a few layers. Start with these two. And this is our sweet sorbet. It's one of the in colors that was new this year. Well, new in 2022. Okay. So now let's go ahead and stick that down onto our card. There we go. And now these two, we're just going to do the same thing, glue them together and stick them down on the card. And this time I gave it a little white mat just so it would pop off that red a little bit better. And what I did for this one, I did it at an angle, and I just made it so that this corner went to the edge of the card and this corner goes to this edge of the card. So I kind of figured out right about where the middle was vertically, and then tilt it until both those corners are right at the edge of the card. Like that. Now, I've got a little piece of basic white here, and we're going to stamp the kitty on that. Give the ink a chance to kind of soak in there a little bit. There we go. Clean off my stamp. And then I'm going to take my sweet sorbet marker and color in that little heart. I think I'm using the dark one. Let me look. Dark. Yep. And I could have used both the light and the dark and done a little shading on the heart, but the heart is so small that I figured it didn't really matter. But what I did do is that I took my handy dandy Wink of Stella and I colored in the little hearts. Ooh, there's some real extra on there. Trying to get some of that extra off. If you need to get a little extra off, you can always take just a tiny little bit of tissue. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and mount that onto that one. And we're going to take a little bit of it. You can use just regular dimensionals, or, you know, I like to use those foam adhesive sheets because they're nice and easy. So let's see. I think I have a square here that I cut the other night that would fit. Yep, there we go. And this one now, I'm not tilting it at all. I want it to be right about the center, and I want it to be straight. And then I have my baker's twine. Now this one, for me, I find it a little hard to tie bows with it because I'll try it now and see, but it's kind of twisty, and I think it's because of the color twisted in, and then my bow won't lay right, and it drives me crazy. So with this, I often use my bow jig. Again, it's not a Stampin' Up! Tool, but you can find little bow makers all over the place. See, I want a little bit bigger bow than that, but I want it to behave. That's not too bad. That one's laying okay. Put away my ink pad. And we'll get a little glue dot. Put it on the back of our little bow. And I'm going to stick it right in here at the base of his tail. And then figure out how long I want that. I think that looks a little bit excessive. Let's see how that looks. That's not too bad. Okay, so now that's card number 3. It's all done. Quick and easy, right? I hate that. That makes me so mad. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean up the mess here a little bit, and then we will kind of revisit everything that we've made tonight. Again, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Hey, Teresa, welcome. Susan says she loves her Wink of Stella. I do too, and you know, it's funny, I forget about it. I love the effect of it, and whenever I use it, I'm always very happy with it. I just somehow always forget about it. Okay. All right, so what do we have here? What did we make tonight? Well, of course, we have our adorable little kitty right there. We have our sweet little owls. And then we also have our gift card holder that we made. For those of you who missed the beginning, let me show you on the inside. There you go. And we used magnets to hold it shut so you don't need a belly band. Okay, so that's everything we made tonight. Again, if you enjoyed this video, I love all the likes and the hearts, and that just, it makes me feel good. It also helps with the algorithm, telling Facebook and YouTube to get this out there to more people. And yes, thank goodness for replay, right, Susan? Oh, I guess it was Teresa who said that. Yep, absolutely. So anyway, if you want to take advantage of purchasing any of the items I used tonight or earning the celebration gifts for free, you can do so on my website. I would love to earn your business. My website is heathersides.stampinup.net. You can email me with questions, concerns, suggestions. I'm always open to suggestions at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or you can send me a private message here on Facebook. That works too. If you place an order under $150, it would help me a lot if you would please use this host code. That just helps me to continue to provide things for free, like the gifts and my supplies for this and that kind of thing. But if your order is over $150, especially right now during celebration, that happens a lot more often than you might think. If that's the case, if your order is over $150, please do not use the host code, because you will have some extra extra rewards in addition to the Celebration rewards. You'll have extra rewards coming to you for your purchase. I want to make sure that you're the one who gets those. So again, I hope you guys had a great time tonight. I always do. I enjoy my time with you guys every Wednesday night. I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. Bye-bye, everybody.